Hi everyone, it's Cherry Enchantress, and this is your daily dust for Saturday, September 9th, if you're watching in real time, but it can also be for whenever you stumble upon it. It's also a timeless reading. However, if you've been following me, you know that yesterday I also did a fairy deck and also by Lucy Cavendish, but this time the artwork is by Selena Fennick, who is also another amazing artist. I love her so much. And so let's get busy with the fairy oracle, the wild wisdom of the fairy oracle. I love that kind of 3D hand. That's fun, and kind of like to incorporate that style in some of my artwork too. So let's get a good shuffle and see what we get. Also, if you're new to the channel, please consider liking and subscribing. I would love to have you part of the Sparkles of Light community. And if you're a returning person, thank you so much again for being here. Really appreciate you. And what I've been doing lately is doing some extended readings, but it's usually if spirit calls me to it. You know, if I feel like this reading needs an extended message, then you will know. But if you would like, watch the whole video to see if there's an extended message for members only, and also both on YouTube and Patron. All right, and you'll see the link below if that happens. All right, so it's very organic. I don't know what's going to come out. Let's see what happens. We have mother-daughter. I've just been thinking about my daughter. She's coming over today. Mothering, teaching, sharing knowledge, nurturing self-worth. And glimpse, indigo, rainbow, crystal children, and beyond. That's funny. It's like my daughter and my son, or both sons actually, kind of indigo. And the fairies are always spying on me. And this deck always kind of like is them talking to me of what they've been noticing. Oh, and Dragon's Pet, which could be Pumpkin. Anyway, let's zoom on in and see the message for you. So, mother and daughter, and it could be mother and son, just mothering, or it could be fathering, but just that mother energy could be in the man or the masculine. Anyway, let's just take a look. When you become a parent and when your children begin to ask you questions, what shall you tell them? We ask you now, the fairies are asking you, be honest with your children no matter how silly it may seem to those other grown-ups, because telling what you believe to be true is more important than you know. When you do this, you will begin to realize that being a parent is about teaching as much as it can also be about protecting, loving, and providing for a being. Of course, these things must all be done with love, but how do you teach the young ones the truth about the magical world? How do you stay real and true and yet allow them to be free to experience the world as it is for them? This beautiful fairy mother is teaching her child the best way possible by being with her child out in nature. She's teaching her child to hear the voices of the humans. Some fairies feel we do not exist. And to listen for the wind, to smell the scent messages of the flowers as they speak with each other, to see the expressions and feelings of the animals, and to know all that is around her. And it's in this meadow, by the creek, under the trees, by the seashore, that our children learn best. And by listening to them, we too learn in turn. You can transfer energy and love and teachings through a hug and a kiss. And this is what children need for their teachers, their mothers, their fathers, to hold them safe and love them well and listen to their words with acceptance, without correction and complaint. So the basic meaning behind mother and daughter is not necessarily, I mean, I know there's so many of you out there that are not mothers, that you may need the mothering aspect. You may be the daughter. But there's ways that you can nurture and help and teach and love and connect with people in all sorts of fashions. And it all has to, I mean, a lot of it has to do with that time in nature. So take time to spend an afternoon, maybe with your parents or your children, and take them somewhere natural and teach them gently the ways of the fairy world. Do this through connection with the earth and see what springs from her, the sky and what flies through her, the sea and what swims beneath, and the fiery sun and what grows from her power. Yes, indeed, the sun is goddess too. Think of Grain, the Irish dragon fae goddess of the solar energy. Think about how to teach your children how to be themselves, offering opportunities for natural wisdom to be learned. Offer to spend time with children teaching meditation, flower lore, nature loving, and animal wisdom. Let your mother and father know you think of them and care for them and thank them for their teachings in whatever form they came. Love your children and know you are the most important teacher ever. And like again, if you don't have your own kids or you're not able to spend time with your parents, there's all kinds of ways you can use this beautiful nurturing teaching energy. And to me it just feels like a tapping into the natural world to do so. And maybe it's just a little bit of self-learning as well. Some of you might have an indigo child. Indigo children are so beautiful and precious. They're just a little bit different from the rest. They've already tapped into this world and the truth of the world way beyond our having to teach them. It's been sort of second nature to them. And so here we show Glimpse. This is a fairy, and he's a scout, and he's looking through the borderlands into human world, keeping a lookout for opportunities to glimpse people who have magics about them. New generations are coming, say the fairy wise ones, and he is so willing to share and learn from and with them. In truth, of course, we are all magical, but there are also those children and young adults around today who are like more open and ready than the generations preceding them. The fairies seek these beings so they can establish connections with them. These new children are easy to recognize if you know what signs to look for. Sometimes they're called indigos. The indigos are like peaceful warriors and activists with a deep love for nature. And they are highly sensitive, and they can discern very easily whether people are telling the truth or trying to fool them. Some feel that they are an evolutionary leap into what humans are becoming. So ask the fairy, and he may say that the children he's looking out for are simply aware of who they truly are. The others, the older magical ones, are more scared. They have had years of being told they are not normal. So this fairy watches for them too, so they can be communicated with clearly and told that they are not mad, but clear, able to hear and see. These beings will return from this meeting with the scout with a vastly expanded sense of all that is, and they will return from the meeting vastly more connected to their own spirit truths. They will believe their intuition after this meeting. They will know when they are being told the truth and when they are being lied to, just as they always have, but they will no longer be filled with self-doubt. So now it's time to change some things maybe in your diet. It's related because or just habits, just some things because just that you do just because, right? Just because somebody told you to do it. It's time to tap into the intuition that you have, or help your son or daughter tap into their intuition about what's good for them and their bodies. And also just the natural world is like, I feel like this is a whole kind of natural world energy tapping into. And then even if say if it's not about your children, it could be about you and another person and tapping into the child within you. So just don't accept certain authority just because they say they're in charge. Now I know that kind of goes against the grain a little bit. It doesn't mean to be disrespectful. It just means to to hold their energy and their message to, in a certain with a certain respect. When you disagree with somebody, it's always really nice to say, with respect, I'm hearing what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but with respect, I see it differently. But you don't even have to say that if you don't want to. You can just listen respectfully and then just go about doing what you feel is your intuition and inclination to do, right? There's so many people that have so many different opinions about things, and there's definitely experts out there, and you can definitely listen to those experts if you feel that it will help you. And there's some cases where you just know the best for yourself, or you know the best for your kids, or your kids even know the best for themselves. So find that inner authority and take action to change the planet and yourself in healthful, healing ways. Maybe it's time to transmute any anger that you have about politics or ego or repressive regimes by taking action, like meaningful action, or peaceful action, not, the stuff that some people think we should be doing, which is aggression and breaking rules. We don't have to break the rules to create change. We can change things by just being proactive and seeing and doing things that help us see the world as a better place. So, a peaceful action for what you believe in. Seeing straight through illusions and speaking your truth can start right now. And you have been seen by the fairies. They scouted you and they saw you. They maybe saw your child, or whether they're a young child or adult child, or whether you're now the indigo child that has become the indigo adult. Whatever is going on in your situation, the fairies are near you and they see this. They see how you've become. Also, the mother-daughter could be the mother nature, the mothering energy that you've grown up with that helped you be the person you are today. So refuse to be dictated to, protect nature and gentle people, and you will come into happiness and balance. You're part of a new world, which we're currently growing into. Maybe we're all having a bit of growing pains, but we'll get there. The more honest and true you are, the better off this planet and her inhabitants and life forms will be. Just stay authentic to yourself. And so the dragon pet is communication between species, animals, pets, magical companions, and guardianship. It's also magical number 42, which is the answer. You'll know what I mean if you know what I mean. So the communication between species, animals, and pets, this is, especially if you have a familiar, you're very connected to them. But even if you don't acknowledge that they're a familiar per se, and you have pets in your life, that secret connection. Some of you, that connection goes even deeper, where you actually can hear your pet's thoughts. So when this card comes out and it's speaking to you, it's like you're about to near a relationship with a particular fae. And that fae is moving into the realm where you dwell, and they have they have a special niche. It's interesting in my world, I've seen fae, and okay, so my little cat Pumpkin, that a lot of you know, I have a little bed for her that I put in my closet, but my closet is it's not a door, it's like a curtain. So really, she has access to the bedroom in and out of her little space that's partially closed by a curtain. And so she goes in and sometimes sleeps in her bed, depending if she's in the mood to get cozy and cuddly. Maybe I need to wash her blanket again. But whenever I clean it, especially when I clean her little space, she's very excited and she likes to make her space. But I often see the fairies fly into that area too, into the closet. Something about the cozy, covered, yet accessible area. Have you noticed that cats will do that, especially like when cats are pregnant? That's what they're looking for, something warm, cozy, cuddly, away from the light, with easy access but safe for their kittens. You know, that kind of combination of things. A lot of times they find a place that doesn't seem so safe in our eyes, but in their eyes they see it as safe. So I feel like the fairies, maybe fairies around you that have found a little place, a little niche, maybe that your cat or dog also dwells in, and maybe they're like hang out together as friends. So, you know, fairies don't really have any kind of concept of owning land or flowers or fields or things. You know, when they say this is ours, it's nearer to a concept of this is me than what we humans have developed in terms of ownership and rights to do with as we wish. The guardianship that you have over a certain area gives you responsibilities, and it includes being as much owned by the land as you own it. It's a reciprocal relationship, symbiotic, and neither can flourish without the help and love of the other. Fairies, too, have areas over which they watch. So you can see in this image that that this little fairy is she's like a small dragon fae, and she's got a little dragon that she's holding, which I love this so much. Okay, because my son is big into dragons, and he has an altar that has like a dragon energy. And so this is Dragon's pet. This is so perfect. So this is this little dragon fae has been connected with this fairy and is reporting to her, and it's taking place on the borders of fae and or the fairy. And what's being shared by maybe what's being shared here, like the communication that a human one has come to share and learn, that maybe you have asked to come into their realm or to learn more. And it's up to this fairy and the dragon fae being whether or not more is revealed to you at this point. So this card is talking about the relationship between beings, and the fairy is the dragon fae being's pet. She's the dragon's pet, okay? As much as he is hers. And they belong to each other. And that also kind of makes me think of the relationships we have with people. In this fairy concept of mutual relationship, we can find fertile ground for our own companions and friendships with beings who we often call pets, but with whom we share deep bonds. We're not owners, we're guardians. And this card reminds us to be worthy of that role, whether it to be land, the flowers, the air, or beings such as the beautiful friends in the form of dogs and birds and other beings who have chosen to share their lives with us. This card is reminding us to listen to them. They will alert you what is taking place on the boundaries before you ever know it. It feels like a kind of a watchdog energy, right? A pet, an animal, or plant, ally, is relaying information to you. So tune in and listen. It's going back to this nature thing. So between your plants, your outdoors, the nature, the birds, the bugs, your plants, and your pets, they're all kind of keeping a watch over you and also relaying information to you. You'll know when energy is changing around the borders of what is called your home and land, and time to take positive and perfect action. A dog may bark at a person or being it doesn't trust, for example. A plant may wither after certain being has visited. All of these strong messages from your companions and allies, and fairies communicate with them all the time. If you wish to connect with the fae, your companions are the ones of the first sources you may turn to deepen and strengthen the connection, because they already have been sharing those messages with you. So this is all about your boundaries, about receptivity, about messengers from the animal or magical world, and the connections that all of this have with the fairy and you, and that world, the natural world, the fairies and you. And also child energy, whether it's your own children, the child within you, the magical world you may have grown up with or not. It's never too late to create that magical world around you. And so I feel like it has a lot to do with your environment and how you connect with everything. Maybe it's a little bit of bringing the outside in sometimes. Maybe it's healing, yourself or kids or family members through outdoor fun activities, group activities outside, even if it's just your parents, maybe a nice outdoor event, or maybe if it could be a group activity with bigger family. Be aware now, next time you spend time with your kids, if you have kids, or your parents, if your parents are still alive, or with anybody close to you, like boyfriends, girlfriends, brothers and sisters, and other family member, observe the world, observe animals too. Like, you can know if a person has that good energy depending on how animals behave around them as well. Sometimes animals are going to be funny, but most of the time they give you good clues about people, right? So be aware of that. Also, if let's say you're looking for somebody who's warm and nurturing in your life, you will know if they are definitely by observing the cats. If you see any cats around, the cat energy will show you that this person has a warm, loving energy. Unless you don't, and then they might be shy. Maybe not, because cats are funny that way. Dogs, however, sometimes are a little bit more indiscriminate, and they love everyone. Oh my gosh, I had the sweetest dog energy episode. I was on this elevator delivering something, and as I was coming down, a lady with her 2 Alaskan Huskies, my favorite kind of dog, with their beautiful blue eyes, one was white and one was mixed colors, came in, and then the white one barked at my son, but just a quick bark, like hello, and the owner said, that's the way she says hello. And the other dog came up to me and kind of cuddled me. He rubbed his head on my leg came in for a pet, and I petted him, and I thought, oh my gosh, and the lady was about to get off, and she was trying to tug him, like, come on, and he didn't want to leave. So I feel like that was sort of a sign that this is kind of my future dog someday. I've always dreamt of having a dog like that. And anyway, he was that energy, that little brief moment was so sweet, and it had so much of a message in it, So don't ignore those little things that happen on a daily basis, Those kind of things determine your true worth and true value, and not all the gossip and the know-it-alls and the people who judge you out there. They don't know anything. The real honest judges of who you are, your character and your environment, and the loving and wonderful person you are all these little energies around you, like in animals and children and things like that. So have a good look at that. All right, so I'm feeling what will be my extended message here. I think I shall pull some secret garden cards and maybe a few messages from your spirit babies for those of you who would like something like that. But the secret garden to me would be a great place to get a few extended messages. And if you'd like to see that, then check the link above or below in the comment section. And I'll see you around. Faith, Trust, and Pixie Dust.